right, let's do this.
We're going to shut that so people don't get like, so we don't hear that noise out there too. Ready? So cool. So we'll make it. So these are going to be essentially, these are turkey burgers, right? So we always go from the old school, like, you know, you get the meat, salted, peppered. But then what we're going to do is we're actually going to grate either the mushrooms or the zucchini. It's your guys' choice. What do you want?
Let's do zucchini. We never do zucchini.
Okay.
What kind of oil did you put in there?
Olive oil.
Is that like the healthiest?
Extra virgin.
Extra virgin olive oil right there. Yeah. So it's probably going to be a better option for most people, but it's also available at stores. I don't think you have to go like the avocado oil.
Right.
Whatever you use, though.
Now, you were a big avocado oil guy, though.
Do you use it?
Yeah, I mean, I still go with the oil and vinegar route.
Ooh, yep. Okay, so we're putting this in the burger.
Totally.
So we're totally tricking all those people, like our friend Kurt, who's producing the show right now, who doesn't want anything to do with the zucchini. And he has no idea he is basically eating a full zucchini while he's having his turkey burger.
Kurt's going to have no idea. If he wasn't filming right now, he would have no idea. But totally. But it's one of those things where, especially with kids, it's a really nice little sneaky way to get it in. Other dietitians, I always say this is like the Otani sort of burger because like it does everything you need.
What about the zucchini? Give me the health secrets of the zucchini.
The health secrets? The health secrets for it is, again, it's got a lot of liquid, which is why it works here. So that's the same thing with the mushrooms. If you use something which doesn't have a lot of liquid, you're in trouble because then it's just going to essentially burn.
Okay.
Or it won't really form because you guys know this is 99% lean. It is super dry.
It is.
Right? So we're trying to find something with some moisture in it, and which, obviously, zucchini's got that. So.
But honestly, I've been eating it now with my wife for nearly 20 years.
Turkey? Yeah.
And I prefer it over regular red meat.
Yeah. I actually do too.
I mean, it's, you know, when I go back to a regular burger, it's greasy and you can tell the difference. This, I mean, you don't feel weighted down after you eat a turkey burger.
And I also think too, most people will have that discussion about like digestion time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really that beef like stays in your gut.
Right.
It's just like, just there's more fat to it.
All right, let me ask you about this. Impossible meat.
Ooh.
Where do you stand on that, brother?
That's a good one. So what do you, first I want to get your guys' thoughts. What are your thoughts on it?
I love it. I have 2 patties ready to go tonight.
Okay.
Impossible meat.
So I want to ruin dinner, but there are no vegetables in it.
What am I eating?
There's not one vegetable in it.
What am I eating?
It's a lot of oils.
Okay.
But again, if you look, it's like soy proteins.
Right.
So
more protein than a normal burger is what the package says.
Yeah, and it's sort of that like protein bar, sort of soy protein.
Okay.
So again, it's not the worst choice in the world. I mean, I think it's a good step for a lot of vegetarians.
Right.
But most people, in general, I think we can do better. Right?
Do you feel like it's necessary to have regular meats in your diet?
So
for the irons and some of the other minerals and proteins.
Yeah, excellent question. I would say yes. I would say yeah, because I think it's so much easier for people to actually get more protein that way. Like if you're a person like a beans, like half of a cup is 7 grams. That's nothing. This right here is 28 grams for 1 burger. The other thing that's really interesting too, when you look at actually like meats and things like that, Rob, that'll be yours. That's a big, big boy.
That's good.
Okay, but I was gonna say, so yeah, I think it does matter because if you look at the typical like leaner meats, they actually have more protein than the non-lean meat. So if you get a 99% versus a 85 or 80%, there's actually more protein per 4 ounces in the leaner option than in the higher fat ones.
Really?
Just because the fat takes more space too.
Okay.
So there's only so much volume. So that's a big one. So I tell people all the time, if you want more protein, try and find the leanest one that is acceptable for you. If it's not acceptable, you're just like, this is terrible, it doesn't taste good, find ways to do it.
Okay.
Cool? That's a great question. Almost got me there, bud.
Hey, we're just living. And we're doing it all wrong, and every time we see you, we learn all the trash that we're putting in our bodies.
And I would say trash, because I'm going to give you kudos, Rob, right? You're a person where, like, you've been doing turkey burger for a while now.
Yeah.
You ever see a lot of people that are sort of just hopping on that train now, right? It's been on like the menus and stuff like that, but not like our typical stuff that we're thinking now.
And the difference is my wife's Italian, and she was raised with a lot of like meats, red meats, the sausages and stuff like that. We prefer the turkey bacon, the turkey sausage, and when she makes it in her sauce and with pasta and stuff like that. Honestly, I mean, I'm around her when she's cooking it, and I'm stealing the sausage right after she cooks it. I mean, it's really tasty, and I'm not just saying that because it's good for you.
Yeah.
It's like I think a lot of people are scared by different foods because they think this isn't going to taste good.
Right.
And honestly, like we just had turkey meatloaf, and it's fantastic because you don't know the difference.
Right.
Once you've been eating it long enough, your taste buds, I think, make the adjustment for you.
You sort of beat me to the punch. So this could actually be like a meatloaf.
Mm-hmm.
This could be meatballs. All you have to do is like you add breadcrumbs to this, an egg. All of a sudden, those are meatballs, right? So a really cool way to like sneak in vegetables to it without being like, okay, guys, we're gonna have zucchini on the side. And if you have zucchini on the side, it's like it's wet. It's not one of those things where, in general, it doesn't look too appetizing.
Well, and in general, Chris, my daughter's going to be 13 next month.
Yeah.
And she loves a lot of the stuff that we eat, whether it's the cucumbers, green beans, whatever.
Sure.
I mean, if we shoved it in there, she wouldn't care.
Sure.
If it's on the side, she likes it with oil and vinegar.
That's awesome.
I mean, she eats everything.
Really?
Oh my gosh,
how old is she again?
13. She's an athlete, but she's a dibble. She'll eat. And she tries everything. And she, unlike me, I like bland stuff. She likes really spicy stuff.
Cool.
So my wife and her are always throwing a bunch of spices in there.
And obviously not that before a game or anything like that, or like lifting or anything like that. But in general, that's cool because I think many 13-year-olds, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who actually eats that way, right? Like that many vegetables or that kind of things. But with that age too, it's the importance of the protein that we're talking about today.
Absolutely.
She might actually really like this recipe. And
I think she would kill for it. Sure. Absolutely.
All right, and so not on top of what we eat. I learned down south that it's a lot about how we cook it. Because I got a lot of good old boys down south that eat great and eat fish every day, but they deep fry that stuff, double batter, beer batter stuff, and then by the time it comes out, it ain't healthy for you. So like, what are we doing right now and makes this healthier than deep frying this turkey burger?
First, obviously, we were saying before, is the leanness of the meat.
Right.
So that's number one. The second thing is we notice, this is more of a drier heat, right? In the sense of we're putting some oil to it just so it sort of crisps up really well. But in general, our overall goal is to make it lean as possible.
Nice.
We're not going to if you're a person who wants cheese on this, you can totally do that.
Yeah.
But again, not several pieces of cheese. Everything down south, like Texas, is everything bigger, right? So like, the portions are bigger. These are appropriate portion sizes, right? So again, I would say for us as men, we probably need close to like 6 to 8 ounces of our protein at most meal. Most people are like, 4 ounces, and it's just a portion. It's like a part, and they're like, okay, that's like a cool snack.
Is it 8 ounces before you start cooking, or is it once you're finished?
Once it's cooked, 8 ounces. So so that's an excellent question. So if you look at that, that's close to like, just doing the math pretty quickly, that could be anywhere from like 40 to 60 grams of protein at that meal. Most athletes, they're very protein focused. That's where we are now. They're missing out on carbohydrates, right? Because again, if you want to do something high powered, high energy, high intensity, protein's going to sort of support muscle health.
Yeah.
But carbohydrates are going to give you that intensity to go.
All right, before we get to the buns, you skipped over the cheese, and you said cheese ain't that bad. Give me your cheese thoughts. What do you think of cheese? 'Cause I think I've been eating really well.
Yeah.
Like last night, made some chicken strip wraps.
Yep.
But man, I had to throw a slice of cheese on that sucker on every single one of them, and I feel like I was just totally killing the whole. I was healthy up until that point.
Yeah. So the other part is you have to look at the person. Context matters, right? Somebody with cardiovascular issues, like history of like cardiovascular issues, or the family does. Well, saturated fats can be one of those things we have to minimize. Cheese, prime example of saturated fat.
Okay.
Right. So it's one source of it, but I'm not saying to totally eliminate it. But you really have to be cautious. And there's different items out there now where it's like you can find thinner slice, you can find like the light or like the lower fat ones. That's going to give you the protein, but it's also going to just reduce that. And I always tell people you want to get those fats from better sources. Like, so what's a better source, right? Avocados with this burger, hummus, right? Those types of things you can use as like a seasoning or like a spread on the bun.
Okay.
So cheese is not the worst thing, but we have to be careful of portions.
Let me ask you about good fats versus bad fats.
Shoot, yeah.
Because that's the weight loss thing that I was on.
Yeah.
They still want you to include butter.
Sure.
They still want you to include certain fats and not just totally get rid of them out of your diet. So explain, in moderation, you still need to put fat in your diet.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. So, for example, 1 tablespoon of olive oil has 14 grams of total fat, right?
Yep.
Think about this, though. How much oil do we use for a salad? right? Most people, it's like, okay, just to put in perspective, 4 tablespoons equals 1/4 of a cup, which is, see if you guys might, sorry about that, but that. I would not be surprised if people on a larger salad use that for their salad.
Right.
Times that by 4.
Right.
14, let's just round up to 15, but you're looking at 60 grams of fat. That's pretty much your day's worth for most people, right? So if somebody's like 175 pounds, that's pretty close to their day's worth. So again, I think in general, we're just looking at, because that used to be a big thing too, Rob, I'll give you that for credit too. A lot of people used to talk a ton about like, we gotta include fats in our diet.
Right.
They took it to the extreme. Like everything's gotta be whole milk, everything's got, but that's not the
Right,
case
right,
for everybody,
exactly.
right? So, and like everybody's saying avocado oil, olive oil. You just have to be very careful of portion for those things. Because those types of things in general, that's where we really are one of those worlds where we don't really think of portion size for that.
Right, and that's what Chris is saying. So people would be like, oh, well, this is healthy for me. So they're just drowning their salad with it.
And you'll hear this idea, the Mediterranean diet, olive oil,
Right.
loaded up. Well, that person just consumed 130 calories times 4. That's almost like, that's a lot of calories.
What about dairy? Like, so I've been off dairy, and you know my diet a little bit. I don't think I've had dairy, like true glass of milk in a long time. Besides the slices of cheese I put on my chicken cutlets. Besides that, like I'm almond milk, and I've been shunned from a lot of places in Indiana because of my almond milk ways. But what are your thoughts on just dairy? Where we're at in 2024?
There's this whole debate, like if dairy is actually inflammatory. Right? Yeah. So the inflammatory aspect of dairy, right? Oh, it's inflammation causing, right? If you look at the research related to like the inflammation, they did it in a group of individuals who are most likely lactose intolerant.
Right.
Well, of course there's going to be inflammation there, right? So if somebody's lactose intolerant, that's the person where you have to be very, very careful of like, okay, maybe that person shouldn't be including dairy. But if you're a person who wants dairy, totally can include it.
Okay.
Can include it. Yogurt's a great option for protein option, right? Cheese is okay, just in portion. So yeah, so dairy's okay for most people.
How long are we cooking these things? I think that's another fear. Is like when you're talking bird or talking fish, you're talking well done.
Yep. So yeah, so with this you can sort of see. So probably Rob, your big burger is almost done, but these ones are probably done right now, right? So go to the carbohydrates that we have, right? So I'm sure you guys have heard of other whole grain companies, right, that are out there. Yeah. There's one in particular. I don't want to do it for. I'm not going to give.
Don't give them any plugs.
No. So whole grain bread right here, which again, it's a great company.
Why do you like it?
It says whole grains in it, right? It's all whole grains. Even this white bun here, right? This is 100% whole grains in it. Okay. Right? People are like, oh, you can't have white bread, but this is 100% whole grains, right? And when we look at it, right, many people are like, oh, but Chris, there's sugar in it. When you prepare anything, there's going to be sugar in bread in general because that's how you make it, right? So understanding that with whole grains in it, that's a win for you.
For those whole grains, I've always heard multi-grain over whole grain.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
Totally different, right? So what are whole grains in general, right? So we think whole grains, if you look at like whole wheat, right? Quinoa, farro, all those ones that most people really don't eat, those are actually whole grains. Multi-grain could be anything. Multi-grain could be anything out there, right? They could just mix in some enriched flour. They can mix really anything in those multi-grains. So
I'm looking for whole grains.
Yeah, you're looking for whole grains.
You're looking for whole grains.
Yeah, but again, if you're looking for like 100% whole wheat, that'll be on the front of the bag.
What's the difference between whole wheat and whole grain?
Because there's a lot of ways they can get around it by putting it on the packaging.
Exactly.
And what they'll say is like, oh, it's cardiovascular healthy. Okay. Right? Or this is like heart healthy, but like that means nothing. The same thing on like natural products. That also means absolutely nothing. Right? So the labeling factors, that's the kind of stuff for most individuals. They say, oh, that looks healthy. Or I bought it at a healthy food store. That doesn't mean that food is actually healthy.
Like even some of the organic stuff that they try to trick you.
Tricky. I'm just going to check the middle of these real quick. So like you guys said, so if somebody's cooking these at home, you should get the middle about 165 degrees. Right. Right? So I would just cut in the middle.
Check it out.
We've got a little red inside, so we got a little bit longer. But overall, the reason I put this on top is, actually, I think it's a place in New Haven. They do steamed hamburgers.
Yeah.
What's the name of the place? You guys know?
I don't know. I don't
Lose
remember.
lunch.
Lose Lunch. There you go.
Lunch. My dad used to take me there.
Yeah.
That's where they like originated cheeseburgers.
So this is the whole steaming
thing. Yeah,
This is the whole steaming
on that
process,
plate.
which can help cook it all the way through.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And you put oil on both sides. You put oil in that pan as well.
Yeah, so I did. So yeah, so just doing that. So just in case, like again, any of that oil sort of drips down, that'll be helpful too with just the flipping of it. That's pretty much the recipe. And again, like I said, this is something for my family and I. We consume this probably at least once a week.
Yep.
No doubt.
No,
right?
we do turkey burgers at least once a week.
Because especially if you have a grill at home, super easy.
All right, here's my other thing that I put on the healthy stuff to make it unhealthy.
Yeah.
I'm a mayonnaise fan. I know
Okay.
a lot of people out there ain't mayo fans, but
Okay.
I'm a mayo fan. Like,
Yeah.
what's the healthy spread? You already mentioned hummus a little bit, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Hummus doesn't do it for me.
Guacamole,
That's a good one.
avocados.
There you
That's
go.
a nice one, right?
Okay.
But I would say so with the mayo, just understand what is it, right? When you look at like how's it made, right? Olive oil, eggs, right? Usually the yolk, right? So you can sort of see it's a good product, but it's very high calorie. And the whole idea we just talked about with fats, the profile isn't probably the best, but if you can control the portion, I think you'll be okay.
Am I getting fooled by the word light?
Oh,
Mayo?
no, you're not. So light is actually less calories for sure, right? So it's significantly less calories. So we have 90 calories for like the tablespoons of the regular mayo,
Okay.
15 for light mayo.
Why don't we just always do light mayo?
That's a little bit more salt with it.
Salt.
They've got to flavor it because
But
you.
I flavored this with
right.
salt.
That's right.
Somebody just told me, because I'm on
Yeah.
a water kick, this guy asked me to get me on a bunch of water. He
Totally.
drinks, all these young guys have these big water jugs and they're just
Oh, the
constantly
Stanley jug?
hydrated. Yeah, Stanley's, whatever, the big monster gallons. But then I was
Like,
told,
no, that's why my daughter's got a couple of
if
Stanleys.
you don't have a little salt in your
Gigantic.
diet, all that water stuff is
Yeah.
for the birds.
So I actually have an interesting story. So I won't give a patient name, but we actually had this individual where he was actually told to drink more water. He was already drinking a lot of water. He actually put himself into what's called like hyponatremia.
Yep.
So hyponatremia is when you go excessively consuming
You get
excessive
overdose
fluid.
with water.
You can actually like
Yeah.
So you basically dilute your blood sodium. So that's an individual where like they don't need to consume more. Right?
Right.
So most people in general, I think with their diet, they're gonna get salt in their diet. They really don't have to go overboard. Okay?
These look good.
I know. It's gonna help see what you guys think. Those look good. You guys ready?
I'm
Wanna
ready.
try one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Fun?
Yeah.
Which one? Top or bottom?
Bottom.
The white one? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never
No,
do the
no.
buns. I'm usually a bunless man.
Your bun?
I like no
Bunless.
buns, and I cannot lie.
All right, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
I'll go with
See
the
you
one
so
that's
much.
got more grain on it.
There we go, Rob.
Yes.
Perfect.
I'm gonna wait. I
Multi-grain.
don't want to bite ahead. Whoever.
I'm just gonna double check yours.
That's too big.
No, that looks good. That's ready.
Let's go. It's good.
The monster.
Thank you.
Go.
Looks of it.
Check
You
it out.
doing one? Here you go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Delicioso, sir.
Something that you could actually see
I
yourself.
like the zucchini. Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
I like the zucchini right in.
Easily.
Right?
Fantastic.
It's one of those things where, again, if somebody's like, oh man, you can sort of see, if you take a picture of this, you really can't see the zucchini per se when it's
Right.
cooked.
Once it gets
Not at
cooked.
all.
Yeah, but once you, like, when you're mixing, you're like, oh man, the kid's going to notice that right away. You can sort of see, like,
And honestly,
Yeah.
zucchini and mushrooms for the most part doesn't
Yeah.
have an overwhelming flavor
Right.
that's going to take over. Like you look, you see the greens in
Right.
there.
right,
I can't taste it at all.
Yeah.
To me, it'd be just a part of the mix.
totally.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to let you guys taste just a regular
No,
burger
these are
itself,
fantastic.
right? Because when you look at it, right, you could obviously cook this and, like, dress it up real nice, like the avocado, all those different type of cheese, right? But just to get the flavor of it,
Mm-hmm.
it sort of hits a spot for most people.
This place is awesome. So, how many of these cooking seminars are we doing? What
Yeah.
kind of use are we getting out of this awesome room?
So yeah, our goal is to get this sort of started up, fired up again, because we're looking to get more and more people back to cooking. Versus again, when we look at like the food prices that are out there now,
Right.
most people say like the grocery stores are expensive, but if you even look at like going out for fast food, that's even more expensive.
Oh,
Like,
way
going to a
more
fast-
expensive.
You're getting like it might cost you like $20 for like 3 people to eat at a fast food place now. When I was a kid, it used to be like $10,
So true.
right?
Yep.
So doing this, I think you can make multiple of these. You can sort of do a ton at home.
And the other thing is, like, this whole video, what, 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops.
Totally.
There's so many guys, our listeners,
Yeah.
guys just like you and me,
Yeah.
that don't think they have the time,
Sure.
don't think they know how to do it,
Yep.
and literally will just go to the fast food line because of those two excuses.
100%. The other part, though, too, is people, they don't know where to start because I find a lot of times people on like social media, they overcomplicate it. You don't
Yep.
have to make all of your meals for the week.
No.
This could be, let's say you guys had.
Honestly, this could be 2 meals,
Totally.
right? And if you're a single guy,
Yeah.
like when I was in the minor leagues, I would cook for like 3 days.
Right.
Sure.
And that's 1 package of turkey meat.
Sure.
You got 1 or 2 zucchini.
Perfect example.
You cook them up, and I honestly I would eat them cold
Totally.
and just like take it to the park or whatever and eat it again.
And I 100% agree. And that's the other cool part about that, too, right? Is like, it's so easy you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
The other cool part of it, though, too, is like, it took us 15 minutes, right?
Yep.
And we're talking money wise, probably
About to bring
total
this up.
with the buns, with the meat, with the zucchini, you're under $10.
What do you think the calories are?
Good one. So I'd say probably, so per 4 ounces, that's about, again, 120 calories for the turkey patty. Zucchini, negligible, maybe like 30 calories, right, per each burger. And the bun is maybe 160, 170, maybe 200, depending on your choice. So we're under 350. But again, if you're a person, maybe you could actually do something good. This is delicious, right? She was like, oh, I thought I was joking over there.
I can't taste it.
You can't.
At all.
No.
It's amazing,
I
right?
hate zucchini.
Exactly.
The
There you
cameraman
go.
will
Not
get one as well
anymore.
after this too. Right? After this,
Wow.
overall, that you can sort of see though, it's a nice like way for again to eat healthy, right? And again, this is 99%.
Oh my god, yeah.
This is not like you
Like,
don't
John,
have to go
if
80.
you zero in on it. Look at how clean it looks anyway.
Right.
Once the turkey meat is cooked up, I mean, it's just, for me, I feel like that's what I put in my body is a cleaner and I can see what it is.
100%. And the other cool thing is, imagine this in the summertime. You make a huge, like you can make a whole grill of this,
Yep.
and then you can eat them within 5 days. This could be a cool thing that you can do for not the whole family, but even do it yourself. So again, if you're single or you have a family, it works for everybody.
What about high performance, like
Ooh.
bodybuilders and
Yeah.
just
They
super
live
high
off of turkey and
right.
chicken.
As
Yeah.
far as them switching
Chicken.
over in the past decade from
Yeah.
red meat to what we just cooked up.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect point, right? When we look at that sort of idea, right, I think we are going more towards this, right?
Mhm.
But again, it's not always just like something that's all mixed up together with ground meat mixed in, but it's like, okay, this is actually a hamburger. So if somebody was really trying to get their protein needs, maybe they could do 2 burgers at a meal, but they use 1 bun, right? Or however
Yep.
they want to manage their calories. But yeah, totally on the docket for protein.
Well, this was delicious. We appreciate you
Anytime.
schooling us and keeping us healthy and then answering all of our stupid questions as you always do.
You guys have phenomenal questions. You guys are always great questions. So
Excellent. Well, we're going to do some more out there.
totally. Cool. with the burgers? No, just kidding.
Perfect.
You guys like that?
234. We got to ask you about
Yeah.
John's health
Yeah.
because he hasn't eaten anything.
John,
How great that is for him.
do you want one?
Yeah, love them.